Let's go for a hike to Nanga Parbat.
We're going to jump right into a playthrough on how to play. If you do want to jump ahead to the review itself, you can do so on the timestamp over there.
And if you like our channel and want to see more of our replayability reviews, click the subscribe button.
Okay, let's play.
Here we go with our first round. Our guide has been placed down. Our meeples have been put on randomly. And we each have our player boards. So Matthias, since I put down the guide, you go first.
Okay. So whoever's second player gets to put the guide down. Where is the guide, by the way?
So the guide is at number 2.
Okay, the guide is at number 2. I am going to select, I don't even know how to pronounce the animal's name. I'll let you.
A burrell.
A burrell. Okay, I'm going to take it, put it on my board, and then I'm going to put my meeple down. So since I took it from spot number 3, this character, the guide, jumps over to number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Awesome. And at number 3, I'm going to pick up a red panda. And the reason I'm going to pick up a red panda is because when you have equal or less than points than your other player, you get a point when you pick up a red panda. I'm going to put down my hiker at 1 and transport the guide.
Yes, the reason I took my burrell is because when you do scoring, it counts as an animal of any type, and that can be very powerful in terms of points. I am going to take another number 3. So I do that, bring it down. I'm going to take a yak. The yak allows me to move this guide to a different region at the end of my turn or before my turn. It gives me a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, the cool part about all of these animals are they give you a power. So yeah, I'm going to take the snow leopard. I'm going to stick my hiker down at 3. So because the guide's already at 3, he stays. But what my snow leopard is going to let me do is I can move 2 adjacent hikers. So let's say I want to swap places with Matthias. If we're side by side, I can go ahead and do that.
Okay. I am going to take number 2, the red panda, which allows me to score. So you normally score 1 point if you're behind somebody, but I've scored a point, and then you can never be at the same spot. So you get to hop over your opponent. So I did that. I will put down my 2 and I will move it over. So within the game, you're tactically trying to figure out which animals you want for the bonuses, but you're also trying to figure out where the guide goes.
Absolutely. And the whole premise of this game is set collection. So you are either trying to collect sets of like animals, dislike animals, or you're trying to get a minimum of 3 of your hikers together in order to put down base camps. And if you have 3 of the same, you get to put them in one of these 2 places. If you have 4 of whatever it is, you go in this column, 5 this column, and 6 this column. So since I'm over at number 2, I'm going to take I think I'll take a Tahar, which allows me at some point to switch places of a hiker and an adjacent animal. That was from number 4, so the guide transfers down. The neat part about this game is when you take an animal, you can use its power, but that's not using up the animal. You can still use that animal to trade in.
So I am going to take another yak from number 2. Put down my meeple. I did not want to grab number 1 because if I grabbed a 1, Lisa could have put down somebody here on her next turn and had her camp of 3. And I didn't want to take a 3 to send it over there. So I did that. Back to number 2.
All right, well, in that case, I see your number 2. And I'm going to take a wild here. So I'm going to take one of these burrells. And it's at number 5. I'm going to stick my hiker there and transport down to number 5. The neat thing about this game is when it says you have to have 3 adjacent, these dotted lines count as adjacent. So for my number 4 here, this number 1 would be deemed adjacent.
Okay. I am going to take Tahar as well. So it gives me this in number 1. But I'm going to use one of my yaks, so I'm going to slide it down on my board to indicate that I've used it. And I'm going to move over to... You know what? I will actually... Oh yeah, there's no real win in this anywhere I go. I'll just keep it at number 5.
All right. Well, I see you at number 5. And what I am going to do is I am going to take a yak in case I want to move where that guide is another time. And because it's a number 5, the guide will stay right where he is. Or she.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually like that move. Thank you. So what I'm going to do a couple of different things. I'm going to grab
the musketeer.
I'm going to grab the snow leopard and put down one of my hikers. It goes up to 3, but now I'm going to trade in my tar, which means switch the places of a hiker and adjacent animal. So I've slid it down. So I'm going to switch the places of this and this. And then is that all I'm going to do? Yeah, I think I will. And since I'm there, I'm going to camp. So that means I'm going to replace my 3 meeples, and they're out of the game. But I'm going to replace them with 3 tents. The one cool thing about tents is they can't be moved. Once you've got your base camp tents down there, locked in there the rest of the game. So I'll take one of my cubes, and the first person that gets to 3, you get 4 points at that 3, and there's another 3, it's only worth 2. So it's nice to get there early. So I get 4 points to my score. I go from 2 to 6. That is my turn.
Well, well, well. Well, in that case, I am going to take another Tahar. Mm-hmm. And I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. The guide is going to hop over to 2, and I'm going to collect my Tahar.
So the nice thing about that move as well is I blocked her almost. She was going to try to connect to these, or she was going to try to connect there. She's basically, by going into that section, I blocked her out a lot. I'm kind of happy with myself. I like it. So you're saving. So what Lisa's doing, instead of trying to camp at 3, she's trying to build up so she can collect some of the bigger bonuses and points. Because you only get 5 of these cubes. I will do... Oh, no, I can't do a 1 action. No, I'll do this. I'm going to put this here. A 2.
You're taking a musketeer?
Yeah.
I am going to take the musketeer. I'm going to put a hiker here.
That wasn't very nice.
And I'm going to send Matthias up to number 1. Part of this game is there's 2 different end game conditions. Either both players have placed out all of their cubes for victory points, or both players have placed out all of their mini hikers. So it's kind of interesting because you have to watch how many cubes people are putting out, but the other player does not fully control the end of game.
Okay, well, this might not be the highest. No, that doesn't make sense. That's a low yield. Okay, I will grab, let's do this. I'm gonna grab this animal here, a musk deer from 5. Put down my meeple. It's going down to number 5.
All right. Well, I don't like it at number 5, so I'm going to move it. I am going to move over to number 4. With number 4, I am going to take the Boral, which is wild, put my hiker down at 1, move the guide to 1, but then I'm not done. I am going to use a snow leopard to move an adjacent meeple around, like so. And then I think that's where I'm going to end up stopping. So now I have 4 together. And because Matthias does have a snow leopard, and he has the potential to move me around if he wanted to, because he can move the guide, I'm going to set up a base camp. Not going to run the risk of him messing with my plans. So I'm going to take out all of my hikers. They leave the game. And I am going to get myself a nice little 4 base camp. So my 4 base camp is worth 5 points. So I go from 1 to 6. I cannot be at 6. So I hop to 7.
Okay. So my turn. I'm going to take the red panda from 4. Put that down. I get to go ahead of Lisa. So on top, 1 point if you're behind, and then another because you can't be at the same spot. Then on my turn, that was a number 4, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It'll come down to 4. That's fine. I'm going to do something that might be considered foolish, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm going to cash in so I can beat the bonus from her. I'm going to cash in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 different animal types to gain 8 points. So it takes me from 8 to 16. So I wanted to get there before she did. It was pretty much what my logic was with that move. You can only put down 1 cube a turn as well, so you can't do all these in one action. Okay, your turn.
All right, well, since I'm here, I'm going to take this yak because a yak...
You're yakking, Lisa.
I like to yak, so why not have a yak? All right, my guide hops over to number 6.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to play some points. I'm going to move my yak down myself. I'm going to move up to 1 again. And I'm going to grab the... that's a tough call. I'll grab the burrell. What can I say? So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to put down a meeple. And then that's a group of 6. I am now going to set base camp for a group of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So his
5,
meeples get collected
6.
And we'll leave the game.
It's a little early to do that potentially, but I did do that just so I could get those points. So how many points is that? That will be 7 points.
Correct.
So 7, so I go up to 23. I only have 2 cubes left though, and I grabbed that from a 2 slot. I should have moved that beforehand. If you ever go to a space and all of the areas are filled up with tents or meeples, you get to choose where you want to go.
All right.
But she has to take the 6 or use her yak to go.
So I'm happily going to use the 6. So I'll take the happy to her, and I will stick down.
Is it a happy maple too?
No, it's a happy hiker.
Happy hiker. Okay. And would go
Thank
to 6. You're welcome, my dear. Okay. Well, 6 is a barren wasteland. We haven't even gone there yet. Or if we have, we've moved out of there right away. I will go ahead and I'm just trying to see what you're trying to collect over here. Looks like you're trying to collect some of these tahars here. So I'm going to just take that. That moves you to 4. Yeah, why not? I will take that. This is the point in the game where you're kind of watching what's on your opponent's board, just trying to see what kind of combos and sets they're trying to make.
All right. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a happy little tahar here, put down one of my adventurous hikers who's just leaving, the ground level. And that's at 3, so he's going to go to 3, but I'm not done. I am going to use one of my tahars, and I can switch a adjacent hiker with an animal. So I'm going to do that, and that gives me 3 in a row. But I think I'm still just going to sit tight for the moment.
Okay. So at this point, we can get into a little bit of strategy. I only have 3 tents left. So I could try to go for 3 tents, but it doesn't interest me because it's only worth 2 points. So what I'm going to do instead at number 3 is I'm going to go ahead. I like the flexibility of the yak, and I also like keeping her away from that other half of the board as I just completely destroyed it. So I will grab a yak. It will go down there. I will place down my meeple. Now, I've only got 3 meeples left too, so I really only have 3 placements. So what I'm going to do at the end of my turn, I'm going to cash in 5 like animals, or 5 non-like animals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 7 points. I'm trying to get as many points as I can before we get going here. So to 5.
So here's my dilemma. My dilemma is he has taken the high point scoring things. So we both only have 5 cubes. So there's only so much I'm going to be able to do. So I really need to kind of pay attention and watch what I'm up to maximize my opportunities.
And you have to be running out of hikers too, I would think.
I have 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4 more hikers.
The game ends when we have both either played all of our hikers or placed all our cubes.
Yes. So on this turn, I'm at
Oh, I apologize.
6.
I moved you. No, you should be at... oh, no,
4.
you were at 6 because I took the yak. Never mind. You're right. No, you should be at 6 because I just went and did that.
All right, so I'm at 6.
You have a yak.
I really don't want to be at 6. So I'm going to migrate. I'm just trying to figure out what my best move is. So I think my best move is going to be to use my yak. Come down. Actually, no. I'm not going to use my yak. I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to put my hiker down. I'm going to take a morale because he's wild. Then, because I'm worried about what he's up to, I'm going to trade in 2, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to use 2 wild morales and 4 to horse. Some of them I had used for bonus powers. Others I had not. I'm going to put them into a meeple bowl. That was 6 different animals. So I'm going to take 9 points. So I'm only at 7. So that gets me to a mere 16 points. And because I can only do 1 cube this round, I am done. My hiker was from 6. So the guide stays.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to think now at what point I can do some bonus powers here. Yeah, that's not going to help me. Okay. I will grab... Yeah, I don't mind sending her back up to 1. I'm going to grab the red panda, put that down, go up to 1. Now, I'm not going to get any points for it from being behind, but she's also not going to get a point either. So it doesn't really bother me, and I'm willing to do that. So I just moved her up to number 1. Your turn.
I see that. I'm going to use my yak.
Mm-hmm. You've run out of yaks, so.
I know. There's only a couple left on the board.
Run out of yaks.
All right. I am going to take the snow leopard, place a hiker, and send him back down to 6.
See, she's trying to figure out where she's going to put down her 5, and now she's given herself some nice options. She's got a 3 here. She's got about 5 there, so she does have some options. Now, if I had grabbed some different things before, I would have had more options as well, but...
And it gets difficult at this point because he has filled in so many of the different places with his cubes, because he got them down quicker than I have. My options are slim pickings as to what I have the ability to do.
I'm going to grab the snow leopard. I get to change some adjacent meeples, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to just swap these. I don't think it really matters, but now I've kind of broken up what she's doing, and I took that from number 5. Where did I take that from? 3. So that really didn't solve much for me, because you can still connect them all.
All right.
Oh, actually, you know, instead of doing that, instead of moving to 3,
no,
it is at 3.
I'm sorry.
I'm using my yak. I will use my yak. And I'll just put her up here to number 1. She has a yak. She can still use it, but I'm going to almost force her to do it if she wants to work her way back down.
Well, he's kind of tied my hands at this point. I don't have many hikers left. So I am going to use that yak of mine, go back over to 3, which he ever so rudely moved me from. I'm going to put down a hiker here. And because they are all interconnected, I end up with my musk deer, and I have 5 that I can put 5 tents down for.
And you grab that for number 5, correct?
Yes. Correct. So if you wouldn't mind moving the guide to number 5,
okay,
that would be fabulous. Oh, and that one. And because I can only use 1 cube this turn, that will give me 6 points. So I go from 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Okay, I'm going to grab the musk deer, puts it to 2. She'll be able to go wherever she wants because that area's filled up. But I'm going to trade out 4 animals that are all different with my last cube for 6 points. So that, and I am out of everything. You must have a meeple left. So this is Lisa's last turn because once she's got 2 cubes, she can't do both. So statistically speaking, this is not looking good for her. You do get to move around though. She only has 3 tents, so it does not behoove her to try to do any tents. I've also worked down all the victory points here. So she's going to try to collect like animals, most likely.
All right, so because there's no animals here, the only upside is I have freedom of movement. So with my freedom of movement, I'm going to jump down here.
Oh, you want the snow leopard?
I have 2 options. I have victory cubes, but I'm only allowed to put 1 down a turn. So because I have my meeples here, theoretically I could take that, but it's only worth 2. So I got to come up with something that's going to be worth at least a little more. At this point, I don't have a hope in catching him, but let's try to make the gap as small as possible. I'm going to grab up that snow leopard, put down my last hiker. I have 3 snow leopards and a boral. So I have 4. And with that 4, I can put down this here for 7. So I go from 22 to 29. And even though I have all these animals that I wasted, I have cubes. Unfortunately, I was getting a little greedy and I didn't cash in any of my different animals early on like I should have done, instead of letting him take all of the high point scores. So that is a game of Nanga Parbat.
So we're back. We just finished a game. So if you did watch the video, the playthrough, you saw a bunch of the different kind of tactics and strategies that we use throughout the game to score points, manipulate the board, get in our way. Lots of all those fun things.
Absolutely. And trust me, he's very good at getting in my way when I have a planned strategy going.
Well, that's part of the game. With my hikers and my animals, I want to get in your way. I also want to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish as well.
In this game, Matthias ended up taking the win, in case you didn't see the playthrough. But our goal was to set up base camps, to collect animals of similar variety or similar types, or collect dislike animals. So as we progress through the game, we move our little hiker around the board and have to collect something every hill we go to. We both have different animals. I know my favorite animal to collect is always the snow leopard. Yes. Because it allows me to swap places with one of my hikers and one of his hikers. So not only can that be a huge benefit to me, it can really hurt him.
There's some cool things to balance in the game. Like, you have your 6 main areas that you're grabbing from, and then you have your 6 points underneath. But you're trying to figure out, I'm going to grab a certain animal because I might want its bonus to score up top. I might want to actually use its power. Or I might grab it in a spot just because I want my hiker down. Or to move the hiker meeple or whatever this one is, the guide, to a different spot. So even though it's a very simple decision tree space, you're still calculating through like 4 or 5 different things every animal pickup.
What I think is really cool is you can play this with 0 strategy and just collect animals, so anybody can get this game to the table. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to get into the meta of the game and kind of like put a thinking hat on and get into the strategy, there is quite a bit of strategy you can come up with out of this box. And one of the components that I love is the race component. because everything only scores once at a certain set number of things that you're collecting, you can sit there and want to engine build like I do, and in the end, 9 out of 10 times why I lose this game is because I'm building all my animals up and I want their powers. But if I were to trade them in as a set, I can't use their powers because I've traded them in. Whereas, if I keep them and use their powers, I can still trade them in, but there's a chance
Might not get the points.
He's already taken the points that I wanted.
Yeah, I'd say we've played this like 10 times. And I feel like now that, like, at these games, I'm a better player of the game than at the start.
Yes.
So I feel like I know the different characters now, what they do, the different animals, and what I'm trying to do. So now that I've played the game that many times, I'm now almost playing the game, but I'm also playing you as an opponent, which is kind of cool. I don't want to say it's like a chess checkers kind of thing, but I'm also, like, I'm playing this, but I'm playing you as well.
100%. And if you know the type of player you're playing, it's going to change up your strategy. So this game is fun, really cute little meeples, fun theme. You're climbing up a mountain. You're setting up base camps. I say you're collecting animals. You're not trapping them, using them for fur and food. But that is what you're in theory doing, according to the rulebook.
It's a quick setup. It's low rules overhead. And as I said before, you have the game down after a few games in terms of what the rule set is, and then you're kind of playing your opponent. So I feel like the more we've been playing board games, we've been doing this, 6-7 years now, however long it's been. I don't want to say that this is a combative game, but it can be if you want it to be. But sometimes I like grabbing something like this that's like 15-20 minutes if we're going a little bit head-to-head versus something that's like the Twilight Struggles where it's like a 2-hour jaunt in.
Yes, if he's going to constantly be manipulating my moves, 15 minutes is much better than a 2-hour game. That being said, every game has its place and its purpose. From a replayability standpoint, though, this game is really neat because every time you're going to randomize how you set up those meeples.
Yeah.
Depending on where you take your animal from, the guide's going to go somewhere different every turn. Whatever your opponent's doing, you, just like in chess or checkers, you have to play that opponent. So you have to take your next move based on where they've sent you because of what they've picked up. So it's a really neat mechanic that way for movement and like board management. And then the animals give you powers, so every game's going to be different based on what you were able to collect. Maybe all the snow leopards were in one region and I didn't get there.
Or maybe that I know you always like the snow leopards, so I'm going to try to get in your way and take them. So you're also playing the player.
True. And then the one neat thing that came in our game was a small pack of cards that allow you to have a secret goal. And the cool part about those secret goals are, if your meeple or your hiker at the end of the game is on a, let's say, number 3, you score 1 point. If you have a base camp set up on number 3, then that's going to be worth 2 points. And that's hidden information. So the first time we played it, it was really, really interesting because I did not go after my number at all. What I did was I placed my hikers around the number that I wanted. And then I collected my snow leopards so I could move them later on in the game, and I ended up actually being successful.
I didn't catch on.
And winning the game because he kept going after the places that I initially put my meeple down. So that was that extra kind of one level deeper in this game that you can go with those additional cards to have something unique and an additional layer of challenge, which we really love when in a box comes a secondary challenge. It really adds to that replayability because it gives you something new every time.
So Lisa, what do you think about this game from a replayability standpoint?
From a replayability standpoint, I think it's fantastic. You can play it with somebody from any level of gamer, and it's quick to the table, a little bit combative, but not overly. Perfect game for an afternoon or a quick game after work.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it sets up nice. It has the appealing maple, so it's fun, and it can be what you want it to be. It can be nice and relaxed, or you can kind of go after the other person.
Yeah, so for our collection, this game's going to stick around. For us, it goes the distance.